Charlie. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make my delicious homemade pork and beans and rice from scratch. It also has D&D smoked sausage and salted pork in it. I normally use pork joe bacon, but since they didn't have it, I had to use salted pork instead. Okay, now this recipe was inspired by the Van Camp's pork and beans. I love Van Camp's pork and beans and rice. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I do have a video I recorded 7 years ago using the Van Camp's pork and beans. If you want to check that video out, I'll have the links at the top of the comment section and in the description box. This recipe serves about 10 people. And lastly, it is absolutely delicious. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, here's all what you will need to make your homemade pork and beans and rice. Let's get started with our ingredients. You will need 1 pound of navy pea beans. You can also use the regular navy beans as well. And along with that, you will need 1 can, that's 6 ounces of Hunt's tomato paste, no salt added. And along with that, you will need some vinegar, sugar, unsalted butter. You can also use salted butter as well. 1 pound of D&D smoked sausage, 12 ounces to 1 pound of cured salt pork. You can also use pork joe bacon as well. You will need any type of long grain rice. I'm going to be using jasmine rice. And for your seasonings, you will need 1 yellow onion, some salt, Tony Saturated Creole seasoning. Now if you don't have this, you can use the Zatarain's Creole seasoning or the Slap Your Mama Cajun seasoning. You will also need some onion powder and garlic powder. And there we have it. Alright, let's get straight to it. Here we have a half of a yellow onion. And we're just going to chop this up. Here we have our salt pork. It's already thick sliced. So only thing we have to do is just take our knife and we cut this into small bite-sized pieces. Now, if the salt pork or the pork joe bacon comes whole, you could just take it and cut it into small bite-sized cubes, okay? Here we have our 1 pound of D&D smoked sausage. And we're just going to chop this up. Now you can also increase this to 2 pounds of smoked sausage if you like. Alright, here we have a medium-sized bowl. We're going to take a small amount of our navy beans and place them into the bowl. And we're just going to sort through the beans. You want to discard any broken or discolored beans, alright? And once done, you're going to take your beans and you're going to add them into a large pot. Now, we're going to add 10 cups of water. Now we're going to cover this and we're going to let this soak for 5 hours. Now while we're at it, we're going to cook our rice. Preheat your fire to medium-high heat. Here we have 2 quarts of water into a medium-sized pot. Let this come to a simmer. Okay, we're at a simmer now. Add 2 cups of long grain rice. I'm using jasmine rice. Give this a quick stir. We're going to let this simmer for 8 minutes. It's been about 8 minutes now, and our rice is done. Now you want to taste your rice to see if it's at your desired texture. Turn your fire off. Now you're going to add your rice into a mesh strainer. Oh boy, that is hot. Rinse your rice off with cold water. That's to rinse off all of the starch. Now we're going to cover this and we're going to let this sit for about 30 minutes. Now let's saute our salt pork and our smoked sausage. Preheat your fire to medium-high heat. In a large saucepan, add your salt pork or your pork joe bacon, whichever one you have. I'm going to give this a quick stir. We're going to let this saute for 10 minutes. Stirring occasionally. Alright, that looks a nice golden brown. Now we're going to add 2/3 cup of chopped yellow onion and our chopped D&D smoked sausage. Give this a quick stir. Now you're going to let this saute for about 3 to 4 minutes. After 3 to 4 minutes, turn your fryer off. Now you're going to cover this and you're going to set this on the side. Now you want to make sure you have a slotted spoon on hand because we're going to transfer this into our beans during the cooking process. So let's get started with our tomato sauce mixture. In a medium-sized bowl, add 1/4 cup of tomato paste, no salt added, 1 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of vinegar, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of Tony Saturated Creole seasoning, 1 1/2 teaspoons of onion powder, 1 1/2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and 1 cup of sugar. Using a whisk, stir all ingredients together until combined. It's looking pretty good so far. Now let's get started with cooking our pork and beans. Preheat your fire to medium-high heat. Alright, here we have our beans. We just let them soak for about 5 hours. I'm going to give this a quick stir. Now we're going to cover this and we're going to let this simmer for 45 minutes. It's been about 45 minutes now. Now you want to make sure you check your beans to make sure that they are tender. Alright. Now at this time you're going to add your tomato sauce mixture and our salted pork and smoked sausage. Now you want to make sure you have a slotted spoon because you don't want a lot of grease buildup in those pork and beans. Alright. Now even if there's a slight grease buildup, that's totally fine. That'll completely evaporate during the cooking process. I'm going to give this a quick stir. Now we're going to cover this. We're going to let this simmer for 45 minutes. Alright, it's been about 45 minutes now, and oh my goodness, it's cooked down. It's beautiful, nice little orange color. Now our pork and beans are done. Now you're going to turn your fire off. Now for the final step. You're going to add 4 tablespoons of salted or unsalted butter, and we're going to let that melt into the beans. Alright. Once that butter has melted, you're going to give that a quick stir. And our beans are finished. Quick tips. The beans will thicken as it cools. And lastly, you can serve this the very next day so that way the flavors can settle and increase overnight. Tastes a lot better the next day. Here is the final presentation. And there you have it. Homemade pork and beans and rice. Made from scratch by a New Orleans native. If you like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell button if you want to be notified of my videos. You can also check out this recipe along with all of my other recipes at www.charliethecookandrews.com. You can also find me on Facebook and on Instagram under the name Charlie the Cook Andrews. Stay tuned as Charlie's Taste Test is coming up next. Now it's time to go ahead and take a bite. It's my favorite part, man. Get to eat. Yeah. Oh, man. Look at that. Pork and beans, one of my favorites. See, bro, that was really on point. I'm telling you. The beans, nice and tender. You could taste the flavor of the pork. Using that pork salt made all the difference, and the hint of those seasonings. And along with the seasoning from the D&D smoked sausage, it's not too sweet. Just the right amount of sweetness. Not overly sweet at all. Absolutely delicious. Now, does it taste better? I know a lot of y'all want this question answered. Does it taste better than the Van Camp's pork and beans? Well, the thing is that the thing about Van Camp's is that it's sweet. When you actually take it out and you taste it, it tastes sweet. This right here, it has a combination of the sweetness and all the flavors of the seasonings that we've added. You can't really do that with the Van Camps. You just can't. So do I think this tastes better than the Van Camps? Yes. In my opinion, nothing out of the can beats anything from scratch. I mean, this is really, really good. I mean, I could still take this and add the pork to it in the sausage and literally get somewhat of the same result. But the thing is that with the seasonings, I can't really add seasonings to this. It just doesn't work at all. Like a long time ago, I remember I added seasoning to it. I tried to do it something like how I do, like from scratch. It just didn't work. So you know what I'm saying. And you could also taste the butter in here as well. And the more butter you add, the better. Oh man, it's on point. So give the recipe a try. I hope you all enjoyed the video. And until next time, have a good one. Peace. No more canned Van Camps pork and beans for me. Done.